Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to do some brief technical analysis on Zilliqa to see what's been going on most recently and what I expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done and out of the way, let's jump on down into Zilliqa here. We are paired up with the USDT stablecoin, and we're on the hourly chart. Binance is the data source. So there's a few things I just need to tidy up a little bit here. Basically, we had this ABC structure go upwards here, and essentially this is where we had some news that was dropped. Basically, I think that Zilliqa put out an announcement. Obviously, you know, the market wasn't favorable anyway. It was definitely a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, and we pulled all the way down, in fact lower than we were before this news went out. But again, it is a part of kind of these hyped up projects. The second that something happens like that, people FOMO into it and get burnt. Okay, so we understand, you've got to understand the direction of the market and not get caught out by these kind of events. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Now, we do need to align a couple of things, because I do think that actually our fifth wave should be down here. So we should just quickly align these back up again. Again, that would be an ABC just moved just here. So I'm just going to park that up in like so. So we have our 5-wave structure coming down, and then here we have an ABC just going up. That completes that move right inside here. So again, I will put it right up there with a big pullback here with the overlap, and then we'll push this up a little bit higher. Okay, cool. So we end up with our ABC structure here. And I'll just park that there as well. Cool. Then we obviously are pulling back down. Now, this was a pretty clean drop down here. Now, there's a couple of ways we could look at it. We could look at this as an ABC complete, but it would be very shallow. And I actually think that we are likely to pull this down further. So the way that I'm looking at this is I think that this is our A coming all the way down to this point. Our B wave comes up here, and then a C wave would drop us down lower. Okay, and again, this actually takes us into what we're kind of looking at overall. Now, we are, of course, looking for some kind of bounce to the upside, but I do think we have to move down towards 10 cent first before we can bounce up, and then we'll crash right the way back down again to complete the daily structure. And I'll go through that in a moment. But essentially what we have here is some kind of ABC. This looks like it's a B wave complete at this point, all the way from the bottom here, but we are in a difficult moment in case of crypto. Basically, we're at a bank holiday weekend. It's Easter weekend. There's not many people active and trading. Volumes are down. So you find ourselves actually trading sideways a little bit. Some retail investors are still FOMOing into things, but there's no real big traders here moving the needles in any one different direction. I think that's going to really come next week once a lot of business kind of returns to normal. And I think Bitcoin's due for a bit of a pullback. And I think when Bitcoin pulls back, we're going to see Zilliqa also do the same. Okay, so we are thinking that we might have some kind of sideways trade just going across here for a while until we actually get this pullback down here, but I do think it is going to come. It's just timing it is going to be incredibly difficult. Now, if I go ahead and just move this over, we could actually move this all the way down. It could be as low as 9.8. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that low, but it is a possibility. So I will mark that up just there, and I'll also just drop a price note on it. Okay, so I'll just drop it right here so we also see that. Okay, and it is 9841. Okay, so that's kind of the daily, sorry, on the hourly, and it is possible that we continue to move this B wave up, which would actually increase our C wave, by the way. Okay, so if we move the B wave up, then essentially, you know, our low target also moves up with it. If we move higher than the C wave, okay, so this basically comes in at 12.735. If we go higher than that, then the structure is slightly different. It could still be ABC, but it could also be something different. It could be an expanding flat, it could be a running flat, it could be many different things, and we'd have to analyze what that would look like. It would potentially invalidate, well, it would invalidate this structure, but it would basically mean that some additional structure would have to be there, and we'd have to figure out what is actually going on with the wave counts at that particular point. I don't see that happening, but again, if Zilliqa decide to put an announcement out there, some crazy retail investors might FOMO into it and again push the price into that direction. Essentially what we're looking looking at here on Elliott Wave is tracking humans' behavior. And at the moment, the human behavior that it suggests to me is that there's downside where people are looking to sell ZIL, not buy it. Okay, so we throw that back up into the momentum indicator, which is the stochastic RSI. And the stochastic RSI is also telling me that we should be going down in price, not up in price, okay? As in we're up in the overbought area and we need to drop it down into an oversold area. So essentially the price indicators here, not only the wave counts, but also the stochastic RSI are indicating that we should go down and we should not go up. However, sometimes, you know, fundamentals take over and people FOMO in. And again, it adjusts these waves and it turns these waves and converts these waves into something different, but they are still the same kind of movements, and we'll just have to pick up how they appear to happen next. And this is the biggest issue with Elliott Wave and low liquidity cryptocurrency such as Zilliqa. With low liquidity, the waves are not 100% accurate, but they do give us a good idea on the general direction of things. Okay. All right, let's jump up into the daily here, and we can actually take a look at what I think is going on. So basically, we had the 5-wave structure coming up, fantastic impulsive structure. Okay, so that was really, really good to see. It was impulsive structure coming up. Then we see the correction. This is a large A wave. I think a B wave has to come up and then a C wave has to come down. And this is a key thing for a couple of reasons, right? And I'm not just plucking out a number to say that we have to come down to this particular range. This is a range that I think we have to come down to because it's a key technical area, okay? So basically this yellow box comes in, if I just mark that up, at 4.2 and has a high point just up here of 8.7, okay? And the reason for this is the typical wave 2 correction zone, okay? And what I'm thinking is that Zilliqa is on a fantastic run, and what you see when you have these runs are natural corrections and basically selling pressure, specifically within wave 2. Wave 2 is one that not many people believe the bullish sentiment. In fact, they feel that bam, that was another fantastic high, but I don't think we're going to go any higher. I'm going to sell kind of attitude, right? So what you have with Elliott Wave theory is you have this entire wave coming up, and basically this is FOMO, crazy FOMO, all that kind of stuff. Basically, it reaches some fantastic highs, and basically it gets to a point where retail investors and just investors in general feel like they need to sell, so they start the selling pressure. The price pulls back quite significantly, and it usually comes all the way down to a 50 to 88% correction. Okay, so this is kind of what you normally would expect of a wave 1 and a wave 2. Okay, so basically we end up with this kind of scenario where people are, you know, shocked that the price went that high, and they're basically taking the profits because I don't think it's going to go any higher. And then when it actually comes back down into this low range, people are like, well, actually, this is actually a fantastic opportunity. It's really cheap in comparison to where it was. What happens if it goes back there? And so they buy it back up. Only this time they had the backing of whales and institutions, because the patterns that have emerged here is it starts life out like a big ABC, and the C wave's an opportunity. But essentially what you actually end up with is a big wave 1, a big wave 2, and an absolutely insane wave 3, which is driven pretty much from the institutional players at that point. Okay, this actually does end up with a 4th and a 5th wave that comes down higher. So let me just bring that back down. And what you end up looking like is basically a wave 3 that is usually 1.618 times that of wave 1. Okay, so we go ahead and just bring this down into the, let's say hypothetically say we do reach 4.2, then we are talking about $1 inside that third wave, right? And that would be an absolutely insane amount of gains to be had in a very short period of time. But that is the kind of things that are going on here with Zilliqa. So that might seem that I'm being like super bearish on ZIL, right, by saying that we have to come down to these low ranges, but this is actually really good that we do come down, right? It's natural and it's perfectly healthy to see Zilliqa come down into these ranges. This is a great accumulation zones over what is going to happen next. Whether or not we believe that this is an impulsive structure or not, whether we think that you know, it's not going any higher. But let me just kind of reassure people with what I understand, right? And this basic Elliott wave kind of structure. We've got 5 waves. Right, there's 3 waves coming down, which we're still in wave A, B and C still to happen. The next one will be 5 waves. Okay, even if this is just an ABC corrective pattern, 535, you'll be 5 waves afterwards. So there will be a higher point that Zilliqa will move up into. Whether or not it's an impulsive structure, as in we get another 3 and 5 waves afterwards, there will be 5 more waves after we reach these low points. So for me, this seems like a bit of a no-brainer for accumulation of ZIL, anywhere between 4.2 and 8.7. Sometimes we only land at the higher end. Sometimes we go right down to the lower end. I can't be more specific about that right now until we see that B wave bounce up high. Once the B wave comes in, we can be a little bit more accurate with where we think the C wave is going to go. And it's going to be somewhere between these ranges, in my opinion. That's going to be marking the fantastic accumulation zone for almost instantaneous gains as we ride up into the next fantastic wave. Guys, that's what I think is going on our hourly chart, and also what I think is going on the daily chart. If you found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with everything that's going on here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.